Big day today. I mean, you can feel the energy in the air. We literally have 100 people waiting for this live stream. I'm assuming because we've all been waiting for this tournament. We had a million questions. Mason, when is Underdog dropping the Puppy 2? When are they dropping the Poodle 3? When are we going to get another one of these $5 tournaments with, this time a freaking $1 million prize pool? Well, ladies and gentlemen, it dropped like 3 hours ago or so. It literally just released in like 3 or so hours, over 6,000 entries, $5 buy-in, $150,000 for first place, $75,000 for second, $50,000 for third, $35,000 for fourth, all the way down the line. Now, we actually had a member of the flock, Nick, win this last year. I believe last year, though, a first place prize is only $75,000, which of course, $5, $75,000 is incredible. But what's great is Nick won it last year, so I can win it this year. He crawled so I can freaking sprint, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go ahead. Eric says we also have a regular season prize on this one as well. I did not even see that, my friend. Yeah, you have regular season prizes as well. Oh my gosh. This is a freaking massive tournament. But, oh my gosh, thank you so much, everybody, for coming and hanging out with us in this live stream. Super excited to get this going. And as always, make sure you go down there, drop a like on this live stream, subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. You know we're drafting literally every single day on Underdog. And of course, if you want to get in a draft with us, this is Underdog Fantasy. These are best ball tournaments, so no time commitment at all during the season. And when you sign up with promo code FLOCK, you're going to get a 100% deposit match. You're going to get my 2023 fantasy football rankings and a free trial to flockfantasy.com. So make sure you are taking advantage. This is where we drafted over 700 teams and won over 150,000 last year. And you better believe we were looking to run that back, ladies and gentlemen. Hell, if we just win with this draft right here, we already match what we did last season. Jefferson Chase off the board 1 and 2. Nothing to talk about there. Mark has a question. Thoughts on David Njoku at ADP? I like Njoku. I've been drafting him a decent amount. I will go ahead and tell you exactly how many David Njoku drafts I've had. I believe I'm like 140 or so drafts deep at this point. Let me pull this up. Okay. I'm 130 drafts deep, and I have David Njoku in 16% of them. So, yeah, I've been taking David Njoku. Robbie on the clock. Go Stephon Diggs. Okay. Y'all are going to witness history here. Y'all know I have been taking wide receivers over Christian McCaffrey, and I've been sitting here going, oh my gosh, I'll just go ahead and I'll take Saquon Barkley in the second round. Blah, 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 blah. But because A.J. Brown goes at 4, because the best wide receiver we'd be looking at right now is CeeDee Lamb, I will go ahead and take CMC. You're getting a treat in this draft, ladies and gentlemen. You're seeing our first Christian McCaffrey draft of the year. If I go through and look up the amount of drafts I've taken CMC in, because usually he goes to pick 2, 3, 4, and usually I'll take a wide receiver. I'll take Tyreek. I'll take Cooper Kupp over him. We're never getting him. I'm 130 drafts in, and when I go to type in the name Christian, you do not see any blue there. You do not see any green there. I've not taken a single share of Christian McCaffrey in those 130 drafts. So first one, let's see if we can make it work. Who the hell knows? Eckler goes 9. Bijan goes at 11. I have started to see a little bit. I don't know if it's just because the drafts that I'm in, and obviously we put out the video today saying, I don't know why we would take Bijan Robinson at pick 6, pick 7. I think that he's right in line with Taylor, Eckler, Barkley. I think they're all about the same this next season. I've seen some drafts where Austin Eckler now is sliding ahead of Bijan Robinson, which is very interesting, and I'm not going to argue at all with anybody there. Austin says Lance and CMC. Oh, you better believe it. You better believe it, my friend. We have to take a wide receiver. I was honestly going to take Chris Olave if Jalen Waddle did not make it back. But we're going to go ahead. We're going to take Jalen Waddle here. And in this large field tournament where you have Waddle usually going at pick like 17 and you have Christian McCaffrey usually going at pick 3, very rarely are you going to get a team where you're able to start the combination of Christian McCaffrey as well as Jalen Waddle. So very interesting team. Really like it. I was a little afraid that we were going to be in a spot to take Nick Chubb at 18. And well, yeah, I mean, I'm definitely going to be drafting Nick Chubb this year. It would be very difficult to go running back out the gate, knowing how gross wide receiver is going to be later on. But hell, I'm really happy with what we have here. I'm really happy. Elixir says, hey guys, and good Lord, that is a crazy wide receiver run. Yes, I mean, it definitely is. You're saying Olave, Smith, Higgins, all off the board at this point. All the elite level quarterbacks still available. Best running back was Pollard. Pollard now off. So let's see what happens. And if you're Steeplen or you get here to the 2-3 turn, big thing is you should be passing on quarterback. If you're sitting here at pick 22 and not a single quarterback's gone off the board, unless you think that one of those options like Patrick Mahomes is 10 times better than the next guy, in reality, you can essentially guarantee yourself one of these quarterbacks, right? And the same thing if you're Party Moose there at pick 23. Unless you think, yeah, Mahomes is so much better than these other guys, you go ahead and you pass on a quarterback knowing that you're going to be able to get one on the way back around at the beginning of the third. Because the team at 1 really can't go quarterback. And then the same thing with the team at 2. They can't go quarterback. So that's why Steeplen, maybe in a different draft, they would have gone through and they would have taken an elite level quarterback over Tony Pollard. But based on how the board was moving up until that point at pick 22, you really don't want to take your quarterback there. You want to get your favorite guy. I mean, if your favorite guy is Pollard, go grab him and then grab whatever quarterback makes it back around to you. Now, let's swing this over. So we have CMC, Jalen Waddle out the gate. Super interesting builds. Now, I don't want to say too much. Metcalf goes 29. I'm not going to say anything. We're going to keep our lips sealed and we'll see what makes it. Robbie on the clock. This is a team that took Stephon Diggs and Olave. So Robbie definitely likes some wide receivers. Took Diggs over CMC. Goes Ramondre Stevenson. So I was planning on going Metcalf, and Metcalf was going to make it to us. But once Metcalf's off the board, really this tier of wide receivers, such as Ridley, Debo, Amari, not too appealing for me. So I'm going to go ahead. I'll take... We'll take Mark Andrews, right? I think you can make an argument to go Lamar. The reason I'm going to go Andrews here is giving a slight tie break in saying, okay, well, the other teams in this draft decided to pass on quarterback, letting Mahomes, Hurts, Allen all go significantly after ADP. So maybe that gives us a sign of what we'll be able to find later on in this draft. Maybe we'll find another quarterback significantly behind ADP. But please spam the chat. Who are you taking with this start of CMC, Jalen Waddle? Don't tell me a wide receiver. I'm sorry. I'm not going to be taking Calvin Ridley over Lamar Jackson this year. Who would you have taken between Mark Andrews or Calvin Ridley? Please spam the chat. Who are you going with between those two players? Okay, Lucas says ETN. We may get ETN on the way back round 4, my friend. Lamar, Debo, Andrews, Lamar, Andrews. Okay, so it looks like, we have a decent amount of Andrews out here. Nice to see. The thing with Mark Andrews, of course, is you have to be a little concerned given the fact that this will be the most target competition he's ever had in Baltimore. Of course, it's going to mean that he gets the least amount of defensive attention, given the fact that defensive coordinators will have to worry about Zay Flowers. They will have to worry about Odell Beckham Jr. And in the past, obviously, the game plan is just remove Mark Andrews, and then you don't have to think about anything else. A little bit different here. So you like the bump in efficiency, but at the same time, you're probably going to get a decline in terms of the amount of volume that you see. Okay, so Big Marley on the clock has St. Brown, Ridley, and Travis Kelce with their team. So in this range, I'll be fine sometimes mixing in Justin Fields. Y'all know I'm not a big Justin Fields guy, but specifically when we only have one wide receiver through the first 3 rounds, I feel like our hand is kind of forced here and we need to be going ahead and we need to be taking a wide receiver. So we're going to go ahead and we are going to draft Jerry Jeudy. Yeah, Nathan was telling us to go with Jeudy next. Yeah, we were going to go through and essentially just take whatever the best wide receiver is available to us there. Of course, if Fields falls a considerable amount, if we see Justin Fields at pick 55, maybe we'll go ahead and take him. Who knows? But an interesting development to see is David Berg there, the team at 4 that decided to go A.J. Brown, Higgins out the gate. Okay, they do it. That's what we thought. And I really like their play here, and we'll explain what they're doing right now. So if you are David Berg, you're sitting there and you have both Joe Burrow and Justin Fields available, right? And you're having to sit here and go, okay, well, which quarterback am I going to take? In reality, if you look at what happened on the turn, you have a Mahomes team, a Jalen Hurts team, and a Josh Allen team that's picking between you. So you have two potential stacks here. If you go through and you take DJ Moore at wide receiver at pick 45, you set yourself up with the ability to take Justin Fields on the way back around at pick 52. If Justin Fields falls to you, hell, you can be happy about it, and you can grab Justin Fields at a value. And if one of these teams goes rogue and they decide to take another quarterback this early, even though they drafted Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, you're still going to get Joe Burrow on the way back around at pick 52, who will stack up with T. Higgins. So it's kind of a win-win situation there if you are David to go ahead and to take DJ Moore. I don't know who this is, but I can almost guarantee you they're going to go ahead and they're going to take a quarterback now. I doubt they're even in this live stream. But yeah, let's see what they do. I'm assuming we're going to get either Justin Fields or Joe Burrow off the board based off their team, based off the decisions they made up until this point. Okay. Let's see what they do. Taking it all the way down to the very end. They go Joe Burrow there at pick 52 to pair Joe Burrow up with T. Higgins. Justin Fields goes 53. I 100% would have taken Justin Fields if he would have made it to us. I don't know if we would have decided to take Burrow just because with Fields, you don't have to stack him given his rushing upside. With Burrow, you do. Okay, what are we doing? What are we doing? Do we mix it up and go with the bully tight end strategy? We're going to get really weird. We're going to go ahead. We will take George Kittle here. We've already made that bet on the San Francisco 49ers offense with Christian McCaffrey. So let's take Kittle, make that consolidated bet. Obviously, you would not do this if it wasn't best ball. It's a large field tournament where I do want to have a unique team compared to the rest of the field. I don't necessarily know if this is ideal. Really nice to see Kyle Pitts go off the board at 59. If Kyle Pitts would have made it back around to us at 66, I would have absolutely hated it. But yeah, not necessarily an ideal selection there with George Kittle at 55. Definitely would not do it if it was not a tournament where we had so many damn injuries and we had to get a little unique from the field. But let's see how this plays out. I'm very interested in this. Okay, so let's move this back around. So running back, we have CMC. Wide receiver, we have Waddle, Judy. Tight end, we have Andrews and Kittle. I really like that play. You know who else you have to draft? Yeah, I mean, guys, my hand may or may not be forced here when we have CMC and Kittle. We all know who's coming around 15, Trey Lance time. I mean, y'all know me even before we say anything. But we'll see. Now, Hollywood goes. Jordan Addison goes. We're going to take Miles Sanders, 10 picks past ADP. We're going to try to get a little bit unique from the rest of the field. My initial plan was to go Mike Evans. Whenever we take Miles Sanders here, I'm thinking we're going to be getting either Hollywood Brown or Mike Evans. When we take Kittle at 55, I'm thinking we're either going to get Hollywood Brown or Mike Evans on the way back around. Very rarely will you see Sanders fall this far. Sanders ADP 56. So generally a team with our pick would be taking Miles Sanders in round 5, not round 6. We'll go ahead. We will take Sanders. Extremely wide receiver light here. Now, this is generally not how we're building our team. Generally, we're taking our wide receivers early. That way, we're not having to go through and look at these gross options in the middle rounds of the wide receiver position, of course. But let's go ahead. Let's mix it up. All right, $5 buy-in. Y'all know we're going to get in a ton of high-stakes drafts as we get closer to the season. So might as well mix it up to see if we can try something a little unique and see how we like our team. Maybe this is something we can do if we get the opportunity at a value. Now, Jesse says, signed up for Flock Fantasy today. Hope there's still some shirts. Thank you so much. And yeah, real quick, let me talk about this because I just Shipped out probably another 60 shirts earlier today. This is my first Underdog draft of the day just because I've been so damn busy with those damn shirts. But if you're a member of flockfantasy.com and you signed up for Underdog Fantasy with promo code FLOCK, make sure you go and fill out the Google form in the Discord for flockfantasy.com to claim your free shirt. And also, if you're a member of flockfantasy.com and on top of that, you are a member of Underdog Fantasy, go to your flockfantasy.com account page where you'll see a blank spot that says Underdog username. Put your Underdog username in there, hit submit, and then it'll immediately add a free $10 into your Underdog account. And of course, that's on top of whenever you signed up, you use promo code FLOCK for a 100% deposit match. But this is just a little bit extra. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. What the? Oh my God. Please, for the love of God, take Tony. Oh. Take Tony. Take Tony. I understand. A smart person will go ahead and take Kadarius Toney here. I get it. I get it. I get it. But I am not that person. Okay. I can't do it. I'm not even a big fan of DeAndre Swift. But we will go off the rails. We will take DeAndre Swift here, pick 79. Give Kadarius Toney to the next team. That's the team that had Travis Kelce. And we will send up a freaking prayer that a wide receiver makes it back around to us. Oh, dear God, ladies and gentlemen. Watson goes pick 82. So at this point, I mean, we're in a spot where really the only thing that we can root for is tight end and running back to get drafted. Come on, people, help me out here. Take some running backs. Take some tight ends. You know you love the James Conner value. You know you love the Javonte Williams value. You know it. Everybody was screaming at us to take Rachaad White. Rachaad White almost made it back around to pick 90. Bateman off the board at 88. Thomas goes. So here's the decision we are at now. Did any Dalvin Cook news come out today? Let me figure this out. Come on, Twitter. Load for me. Do not see any Dalvin Cook news. So we will take Alexander Mattison. Yes, I will draft Alexander Mattison over Courtland Sutton, despite us so desperately needing a wide receiver. Here was my initial thought process on why we decided to take a running back there in round 7. We're going through looking at our build and clearly making a massive mistake. I don't want to shy away from that at all, okay? But we were looking at our build saying, well, we have Andrews. Why don't we go through and make the consolidated bet on the Baltimore Ravens passing offense? If we were looking at the wide receivers based on ADP that will be available to us now versus later, wide receivers now, Kadarius Toney, pick 79. Wide receivers later, according to ADP, we would either be looking at Zay Flowers or Rashad Bateman. I thought it made more sense to go ahead and grab either Zay Flowers or Rashad Bateman in round 8, pair up with Mark Andrews, and get the correlation there. Now, of course, that is under the assumption that one of those wide receivers makes it back to us. Clearly, that assumption was oh so horribly wrong. Neither wide receiver makes it back. And instead, we are put in a position of, do we take Courtland Sutton, Elijah Moore, or who we perceive to possibly be the starting running back for the Minnesota Vikings this next year. So we will go ahead and we will just completely tank our first Christian McCaffrey team ever. And let me go and show this off, right? Because I know we've had a lot of people calling us idiots because we don't take Christian McCaffrey at all. We're like almost 150 drafts in. It's my first Christian McCaffrey team. This is the reason I don't take Christian McCaffrey. The reason I don't take Christian McCaffrey is I would rather have Miles Sanders over Mike Evans. I would rather have DeAndre Swift over Kadarius Toney. I'd rather have Alexander Mattison over Courtland Sutton. So knowing myself, I know for a damn fact I want to be taking running backs here in rounds 7, 8, and usually 9 as well. I think wide receivers with these picks, generally very bad values. So if we go back and say you look at a usual start of what you get at 7, say instead we have either A.J. Brown or Stephon Diggs here, I'm chilling with A.J. Brown, Jalen Waddle, Stephon Diggs at wide receiver. I'm not stressing about it at all. And I'm honestly not stressing about running back too much either. So that's why it is so difficult in my mind this year to go through and take Christian McCaffrey. Now, of course, we do it because CMC falls to pick 7, and I've never seen him fall that far. So we'll see what happens on the way back around. It's just Port on the clock. So if we're looking at Dak Prescott, we could take Dak and Gallup later on. Ferguson, obviously not in play. We can't take another tight end through the course of this entire draft. We are done at tight end. And at the very most, and I'm talking very most, we can only draft one more running back. Preferably, we don't draft that running back for a couple more rounds. Okay, Robbie on the clock. Let's see what they do. They go Dylan. So Tua would be in play here. We have Jalen Waddle, but I'll show the board in just 1 second. A couple of reasons. We're going to take Courtland Sutton. One, because I am starving for a wide receiver. I mean, it's like I'm in the desert right now. I haven't had water. I haven't had food in 2 to 3 days. I am right there on the brink. A wide receiver is a juicy steak for me at this point. Now, of course, if you were going out there and getting someone maybe like Jalen Waddle, that wide receiver would be a juicy ribeye. Here, we're getting Courtland Sutton, so we're getting a juicy can of Spam. But nonetheless, regardless, it will hopefully sustain us. We have Jerry Jeudy at the same time. So we will set ourselves up with the ability to go Russell Wilson later on and have Russ stacked with Jeudy as well as Courtland Sutton. Hopefully that works out. We will see. And I have one other thing that I need to be talking about once we make our pick at 114. I don't even want to tell you what to remind me with, but an overall strategy on another reason we go Sutton there. Okay. Another reason we go Sutton. Caesar says 470 watching and only 215 likes. Y'all are slacking. Well, first off, thank you so much for everybody who's dropped a like on this live stream. Thank you so much for everybody hanging out with us here. I mean, it's literally crazy that y'all are willing to spend this much time with me. And second off, if you want to see another draft after this one, go down there, drop a like on the live stream. If we hit 350 drafts after this, we will fire up another one. I'm sorry, 350 likes after. I mean, we will fire up another draft after this. And what was the other thing I had to say? Oh, yeah, of course, if you want to get our next draft, we're doing this literally every single day on Underdog Fantasy. Puppy 2 just dropped. It's a $5 buy-in. It is a $1 million prize pool. Okay, it works for us. We get them. We take Tua. We had people earlier telling us to go with Tua in round 9. And honestly, we saved this team. Okay, this team's good. I stand by it. This team could be better, but I think it is strong. Now, let me explain the reason why we go through and why we decided to take Sutton over Tua, despite the fact that we also needed a quarterback and Jalen Waddle and Tua stacked together nicely, of course. Is if you're looking at Tua, and yeah, he fell behind his ADP where he has an ADP of about, I believe, pick 98. And if we were to select him at 103, it would have been behind ADP, so maybe you can make an argument that it'd be fine. But at the end of the day, the reason Tua has an ADP of around like 99, 100, 98, wherever the hell it is because the team that takes Tyreek Hill usually at pick 3, pick 4. That team usually takes Tua at the 8-9 turn. So once that team with Tyreek Hill decides to pass on Tua, also we see the team with Devon Achane pass on Tua, we are the only person left that can stack Tua with an option in his offense. Now, of course, someone here at the very end that has pick 108, 109, maybe they go, Mason, come on, man. I mean, Tua is just such good value at this point. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take him, and I don't need a stack. And that's definitely a risk. I mean, that's definitely a possibility. But just looking at this through a game of probabilities, we are willing to gamble on the probability of Tua continuing to slide past ADP based off the overall draft context. And clearly it worked out. I mean, I'm honestly really happy with this draft so far. Once we get Sutton 103, Tua 114, this is a good team. I was thinking this $5 was just lit on fire after we took Alexander Madison at pick 90. But I feel like after that, the board's really fallen in our favor. Okay. Now let's move this down. Geno goes 120. Elijah Mitchell off the board 121. Y'all know I love the value of a couple of these running backs in this range, but at the same time, I personally, like I said, am starving for wide receivers. So we'll see what happens. Okay, this team, Party Moose on the clock. Okay. Do we have any potential pairings to go with Rodgers? So if you think about it, obviously Hardman's always in play in round 17, but we can't go Conklin given the fact that we already have our 2 tight ends. We go with the bully tight end strategy here. So honestly, even if Rodgers were to make it to us at pick 127, I'm probably not taking Aaron Rodgers. Condre Miller goes 124. Obviously great for us. The only thing better would be seeing some of these tight ends get drafted. Okay. Well, what does this team have? This team also doesn't have any Jets. They could go Conklin. They could go Hardman. So maybe we see them go Rodgers. Kobe Short says, what is your weirdest build this year? It's pretty close to it, my friend. Bully tight end with CMC in round 1. Definitely something I've not done this year. Okay, so second year tight end in Tennessee off the board. We're going to go ahead. We're going to take Zay Jones. We are just going to try to grab as many of these wide receivers as we possibly can. That's the thought process. Wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver. Okay, so far, our team, bully tight end strategy where we go Andrews, Kittle, pick 31, 55. Running back, we have CMC, Miles Sanders, DeAndre Swift, Alexander Madison. Wide receiver, we have Jalen Waddle, Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, Zay Jones. So if we're going to look at the correlation that we have with this team, currently we have Sutton paired up with Jeudy, we have Kittle paired up with CMC, and we have Waddle paired up with Tua. I went from thinking this was a complete garbage team to now, honestly, I don't want to say, I like it. Okay. I like it. I think it's a fun team. Okay. Very minimum. It's a fun team. Okay. Now, Jamal Williams off the board 132. Let's swing this around. So obviously Russ is in play for us considering the fact that we have both Jeudy as well as Sutton. Now, the question is, if we decide to go ahead and take Russell Wilson here, are we done drafting at 2 quarterbacks? Because I heard from a little birdie earlier today that there's a round 17, round 16 quarterback, maybe round 15 if we're really feeling frisky, that has top 5 upside. And if that birdie's correct, we could stand to win a lot of money with that round 15 quarterback, especially when we have 2 options in his offense. So I don't know. We'll see what we do. Gallup goes 134. Sorry, 135. Is there news on Rashee Rice? Is there a reason he's falling? Let's get out the old Twitter machine. Okay, he's off the board. If Rashee Rice was going to make it to us, we were going to go ahead and take him. But now that he's off, none of these wide receivers are too appealing. Generally in this range, I'm maybe grabbing a running back, usually grabbing like a tight end like Greg Dulcich. But we'll go ahead. We'll take Russ. I mean, we're going to get that double stack between Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, as well as Russell Wilson. In general, I mean, a pairing that we were avoiding heavily last year. But if you remember where these guys were going last year, you had to get Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton at the 3-4 turn in these underdog drafts. So while, I mean, definitely, they were horrendous last season. And the definition of league losers, completely different price point. We do get Jeudy at pick 42. We get Sutton at pick 103. And Russ pick 138. So it's interesting. Like I said, if we would have had Rashee Rice making into us at pick 138, I probably would have tried to push the envelope and have Russ make it to us at 151, considering the fact that we had both stacking options with Russell Wilson, and then obviously have our backup plan of the GOAT, the legitimate GOAT at the quarterback position of Trey Lance. Okay. Loco says, issues with Rice is he's getting winded. Okay, don't care about that at all. I mean, remember last year it was just Treylon Burks. Oh, Treylon Burks, he can't stay in practice. Treylon Burks left the practice field. Don't draft him in fantasy. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we are 3 likes away from hitting 300 likes in this live stream. Go down there, hit that like button. If you want to see another draft after this one, if we hit 350 likes on this stream, we'll fire up another draft. And if you want to get in our next one, of course, you know we're doing this every single day on the live stream on Underdog Fantasy. Link in the live chat, link in the description. Chark goes, so, we are put in a tough spot. Tight end, not even a possibility for us. We have Andrews, we have Kittle. It doesn't matter if Cole Kmet makes it around 18. When I draft Andrews and Kittle rounds 3 and 5, we cannot take a tight end. Quarterback is in play, but we do not want to have to go in that direction. I would prefer passing on QB if we can. Running back is kind of whatever. Maybe we go Raheem Mostert, get our 5th RB, and then be done at the running back position. Maybe we wait and try to find a better value later on. I mean, we have made the bet overall on the Miami Dolphins. Now, Sean coming out says, how do regular season prizes work on Underdog? Is it just accumulated points throughout the season? Yes, sir. That is exactly what it is. So it's not going to include your bench players. It's just going to include your starting lineup, and then it's going to work its way through the course of the season. Now, let's get rid of the QBs. I'm not taking any quarterback here. If we were to take a quarterback, we're taking Lance in rounds 5. In 3 to 4 rounds. Okay, wide receivers on the way back around, I honestly like. We'll go ahead. We'll take Tank Bigsby here. Running back that has skyrocketed up these rankings. Will have a small role in Jacksonville, like we discussed in the video the other day. That's not going to deter me from avoiding Travis Etienne. I think that Travis Etienne is still a phenomenal value in these drafts. But we'll take Tank Bigsby 151 and then be done at running back. So at this point, we are wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver, possibly mix in a quarterback, and then some more wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver. I mean, yeah, let's show this team off. I don't want to say this is a good team. This is a very fun team, and I am really happy we decided to go through this exercise and build it this way. Honestly, I feel like we learned a decent amount. And everybody send up a prayer. Can everybody send the prayer emoji in the live chat? 1, for us getting 11 more likes to fire up another draft. And 2, for us to see some running backs, tight ends get drafted here. Eric says something about week 9 buys. I cannot care at all about week 9 buys. I mean, this is a $5 buy-in, $1 million prize pool where the majority of the money is in weeks 15, 16, 17. I don't care about bye weeks in the slightest. Okay, Algier goes. Okay, good. So generally, a lot of people would go through and say, okay, well, we already made that bet on the Denver Broncos offense. You have Russ, you have Judy, you have Sutton. Let's continue to make this bet. Let's quadruple down and take Marvin Mims. When the tournament is this large, it's very difficult to go through and tie up 4 of your roster spots to a single offense. I would rather just have the double stack, go Marquez Valdes-Scantling here. If we get Marvin Mims at some crazy value, I'll go ahead and draft him. But in general, I think Marvin Mims would be the selection if we did not get Courtland Sutton or we did not get Jerry Jeudy. I'd have been very excited to pair Jeudy and Mims with Russ or Sutton and Mims with Russ, but to go Sutton, Jeudy, Mims, and Russell Wilson all on the same team, not necessarily something I'm trying for. So we're going to go ahead and instead, we will take MVS and we'll hope that DeAndre Hopkins is not going over to Kansas City for this team. Wandale goes 164. Y'all know Wandale, one of my most common round 15 selections. Okay. Now, I believe our guy's still there, ladies and gentlemen. Brock says Sean Payton's going to let this team cook. It is very interesting to try to figure out what you're going to have with Sean Payton and the Denver Broncos this next year. Y'all know how much crap I got for how heavy we were avoiding Courtland Sutton this last season. But if I'm looking at my drafts now, I have Sutton in about 4% of drafts, which I know doesn't sound like a lot, but compared to what we've had in the past, it is a ton. It is a ton. Okay. Now, here's what a smart person will do. Just want to fill you in on this. A smart person goes through and goes wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver in rounds 15, 16, 17, 18. Just so I can say that we acknowledge what a smart person would do. But at the same time, a smart person may not have the stones to go through and make the right pick. The pick that's going to score the most amount of fantasy points. You know who it is. But how about this? I'll toss it to y'all. We need wide receiver desperately. There's no reason for us to reach on a third quarterback when we have Tua, we have Russ. So what I will do here is I will take Hunter Renfrow and we will let the draft room decide for us. If y'all decide that I get Trey Lance on the way back around, we get Trey Lance on the way back around. If y'all decide that we have to go wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver, we have to go wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver. And honestly, this is what I'm going to do, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to queue up Trey Lance at the very top, and we're going to queue up a million wide receivers after this. Not going to show you the exact order that we're queuing these guys, just because I don't want any shenanigans going here. But I'm going to hop into another puppy draft so we can get some more of y'all in. Just going to queue up a ton of wide receivers. Then I will show y'all the overall team, and we will hop in another one. Okay, Okay, we queued up about a million wide receivers. There's no way it gets through our entire list. And let me show you all this draft, however, before we bail. I want to make sure anybody who's just now coming in gets to see what we did, because like I said, I don't think it's quote unquote good, but I do think it's really fun. And I think it was a good exercise to go through and see, can you possibly, just possibly, make a build with only 2 wide receivers through the first 8 rounds, 3 wide receivers through the first 10 rounds work? The answer is probably not, but if it's ever going to work, it's going to be for us. Now, let's sweat this last one out, ladies and gentlemen, because hell yes, we are getting Lance. All right, just know Trey Lance was added to that team. Now let's go ahead. Let's hop in the next puppy draft and let's get this bad boy going. All right, filled immediately. 102. Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. Lock it in. No more Christian McCaffrey round 1. We don't have to deal with that nonsense. Let's go ahead and let's get either Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase. Let me know if you're in this draft with us. Let me know if you're in this draft. Connor out here at pick 7. Austin says that was the 150,000 team. I hope it was, my friend. I hope it was. Adrian says, Mason, can you explain the Renfro over Hodgins pick for me? Personally, I take Hodgins 10 out of 10 times. Reality, I don't think it matters too much. I mean, if I view the guys as the same, I'll take whoever's higher in ADP to balance my exposure. Iraq just missed it, was number 12 in the last one. I'm sorry if y'all missed this one, my friend. Now, Big Marley on the clock. Hopefully we don't have too many of y'all in this draft with us. I mean, if we don't have too many of y'all in this draft, then at the end of the day, we may actually be able to make some plays. I may actually be able to say what I'm thinking and hopefully get the guys that we want falling to us. So we'll go ahead. We'll take Jamar Chase. I mean, we don't have to hide that. I think it's very, very clear. Let's see where Christian McCaffrey goes. Would be funny if you all of a sudden get a trend of Christian McCaffrey going pick like 7, pick 8, pick 9. And if CMC does start falling outside the top 6 picks, I will continue to draft Christian McCaffrey. My issue is taking CMC over Tyreek Hill, taking CMC over Cooper Kupp. Personally, I can't do that. But if it's like CMC versus the best next wide receiver is CeeDee Lamb, then yeah, I'll go ahead and I'll take Christian McCaffrey in that instance. Gray says, it's a crime that this is not available in Ontario. I'm sorry, my friend. And real quick, just in case y'all don't know where Underdog's available, yellow states Underdog is available in. Gray states Underdog is not available in. Super quick, pause this. Also available everywhere in Canada outside of Ontario, which I'm very sorry about that, my friend. But of course, we're drafting here every single day. I won 150,000 on the Underdog last team, drafted over 700 teams. Best ball, so no time commitment at all during the season. And when you sign up with promo code FLOCK, you are going to get a 100% deposit match up to $100 plus my 2023 fantasy football rankings. Okay. Now, Eckler going off the board, pick 8, Bijan pick 9. This is like the 3rd or 4th draft in a row where I've seen Eckler go before Bijan Robinson. I mean, and it's not just on the live stream as well. It's off the live stream where it's not like we're just drafting with members of the flock. I mean, I'm seeing a decent amount of Eckler over Bijan now. I wonder if this is the new trend. I wonder if in 2 weeks we'll see Austin Eckler have an ADP higher than Bijan Robinson. You don't see Robinson going at pick 4, 5, 6 anymore. You always see him going now at pick 9, 10, 11. So Rex says he had a draft earlier with Eckler going at 4 and JT going at 7. Interesting. Brock says he would still rather have Bijan over Eckler. Yeetman says Bijan is running back 1. Sean says he'd rather have Eckler. I think Eckler is like the easy no-brainer pick in a full PPR format. Ethan says, love watching you. Thank you so much, my friend. Sam says Adams has been falling in my drafts quite a bit. Yeah, I mean, I personally did move Adams down a bit myself. I moved Adams behind CeeDee Lamb. It's really the only move that we actually made when it comes to Devontae Adams. Okay, let's swing this back around. Pollard off the board, pick 19. Olave goes 20. I don't want to say too much. Smith goes 21. All right, so we're definitely not going to take a quarterback here at pick 23. If we're taking a quarterback, we're going to do so at 26, just given the fact that there's no way Big Marley's going to take 2 of these guys. So Jacobs goes. So we're going to take T. Higgins. Now, what sucks, right, is if we have Chase and Higgins on the same team, if this team's going to be dominant, if this team's going to win a tournament, you have to assume that Joe Burrow is also going to be dominant. Joe Burrow is going to be putting up 1,000,000 points. But personally, especially when we see this team go Mahomes and Josh Allen on the same roster, when they're skewing, the overall draft, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take Jalen Hurts. So it's a very interesting combo. And I think that you can make a strong argument for the range of outcomes with this team for both those wide receivers hit. You would need to go through and you need to take Burrow in round 4. But especially when we see that team decide for whatever reason to take both Mahomes as well as Josh Allen, I'll mix in Jalen Hurts here. We'll go Jalen Hurts. And honestly, if we have the ability to take another exciting QB, I may do so if it's going to go ahead and continue to skew the rest of this draft, right? Like if all of a sudden we are in a draft room where, I mean, people are having to reach 2 to 3 rounds on Derek Carr, that'd be really, really nice. Okay, Lamar goes 31. There any other interesting notes in this draft? Really, the main thing that I want to be pointing out is Eckler going before Bijan, which is that continued trend. Lamb going before Adams, the continued trend. I'm seeing more and more Nick Chubb rise to being like an early second-round pick. Here you see Chubb go over Barkley. Well, 100%, I wanted to go through and say Nick Chubb is someone I will be completely fine taking the second round, whereas previously I wanted to grab a wide receiver round 2, running back round 3, thinking that Chubb was in a comparable tier to Derrick Henry. I think I've already admitted I was completely wrong with that assumption, and now I'm willing to change my draft strategy to go around 2 Nick Chubb, round 3 wide receiver. I don't know. Chubb over Barkley seems a little aggressive. Deebo Samuel makes it to 39. Very interesting to see Mike Williams go before Deebo there. Okay, so best players available: Hopkins, Christian Watson, Jerry Jeudy. Now, one issue, right? Just say hypothetically, we're in a spot where we take either Justin Fields or Joe Burrow in the 4th or 5th round. That would allow CFM, that would allow Stingray, that would allow Ace Man to all know for damn sure that no quarterbacks are going to go off the board for this string of 4 picks between myself and Big Marley. So it does kind of just flash like, hey, just a heads up. I mean, we will not take these guys, blah, blah, blah. Christian Watson goes 45. Let's see what CFM does. Goes Jeudy. We're going to take DJ Moore, definitely. There's no way in hell the teams can take another quarterback. They have Mahomes and Josh Allen. And the question is, do we push the envelope? Do we have a very weird build and go ahead and take another quarterback, either being Burrow or Justin Fields, at pick 50? Then we have 2 teams hoarding 4 elite level quarterbacks, skewing the rest of this draft. We'll go ahead and we'll do it. We'll take Fields. I think a lot of people can make an argument for Burrow. The reason I'm going to go ahead and take Fields here, despite us having Chase and Higgins, well, clearly we still have the DJ Moore stack as well. Is if we are looking at a team that has Jalen Hurts, right? The only way a quarterback hits our starting lineup over Jalen Hurts is if he is truly game breaking. He drops a 35-point week. And while Joe Burrow is definitely capable of doing that, I would rather take a swing on someone that oh my gosh, this is so exciting. You have Justin Herbert going pick 55. Look at this draft so far. You have one team going Mahomes, Allen, another team Jalen Hurts, Justin Fields, and another team Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert. Oh, dear God. Connor coming out and crushing. That is crazy. Yeah, Lawrence goes ahead of ADP. I want to see what kind of quarterback pressure happens now. Oh, I don't know if this is going to be good, but this is going to be entertainment at the very minimum, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be entertaining to say the least. Okay. Chief Smokes is glad I didn't get in this one. Team 7 going crazy right now. Ooh, then you get Andrews and Kittle off the board. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I'm excited to see how this plays out. What's also very funny in these underdog drafts, and what I've noticed as of late, is in drafts this year, it is dominated by massive runs of individual positions. This is something that we used to not have back in the day, or at least, obviously, I mean, it always happened, but not as heavy. But in these underdog drafts, you see massive spans of all the wide receivers getting drafted, then none of the wide receivers getting drafted. From pick 39 to pick 49, with those 10 selections, you have one non-wide receiver going. I'm sorry, that's actually 11 selections there. You have 10 wide receivers, one non-wide receiver. Then from pick 50 to pick 59, that 10-round range, you have 0 wide receivers getting drafted. So it's very funny, very weird to see how these drafts are just dominated by the massive runs in one way or another. Okay, so where we are at a slight disadvantage, right? And so what we talked about before we went through and decided to take the second quarterback is if you were looking at this team here, if you're a CFM and you go, okay, well, the teams between my pick and my next one have Jalen Hurts, Justin Fields, Josh Allen, and Patrick Mahomes. They simply cannot take another quarterback. They can't. So if I want a QB, I'm just going to go ahead and pass on him and get him at 75. Now, of course, the quarterbacks that would be here, nobody. And going back to our last draft as well, I don't know if this team's any good, but I'll tell you one thing, it is a ton of fun. We're going to get Dallas Goedert at 71 to pair Goddard up with Jalen Hurts. So this team just has every pick correlated. This is crazy. Okay. Big Marley has Mahomes, Allen, Jefferson, McLaurin, and Michael Pittman. They go Pacheco, Gabe Davis. We'll take Dalvin and say, oh, okay, maybe he goes to Miami. Who the hell knows? But yeah, let me show off what we did through the first 6 rounds. This is the exciting way to go through this. We have Jamar Chase, Higgins paired together to make that one massive bet on the Cincinnati Bengals. We have Jalen Hurts and Dallas Goedert paired together to make that bet on the Philadelphia Eagles. And we have Justin Fields and DJ Moore paired together to make that bet on the Chicago Bears. This, in my mind, like I said, generally, it's not going to be good to take 2 quarterbacks this early. And generally, this is something that I am not doing and never really thinking about. But this is such a unique and, at the very least, such a fun draft. I mean, this is a very, very fun team. Okay. Now, Deontay Johnson going off the board at pick 77. Yeah, so Alexander Madison goes neck and neck with Dalvin. Now, can y'all spam the chat? Obviously, it's June 1st. We are told, nonstop, something's going to happen with Dalvin Cook June 1st. Be prepared, June 1st. Mark your calendar. Mark the date. Nothing happened. Where do you think Dalvin Cook is playing in 2023? Please spam the chat. We almost have 600 people watching this. One, if you're one of those 600 people and you have not hit that like button yet, fix your damn life. Go down there and drop a like on this live stream. 2, I stream underdog drafts every single day, and I will until the start of the year. So subscribe to the channel. And 3, once you're subscribed, make sure you go sign up for Underdog with promo code FLOCK. That way you can come out and draft with us. 100% deposit match. And on top of that, my 2023 fantasy football rankings and a free trial to flockfantasy.com. Okay, so here are the votes. Here are the guesses of where Dalvin Cook will be this next season. Vikings, Dolphins, China, Vikings, Vikings, Pittsburgh, Vikings, 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 Bills, Bengals, Vikings, Dolphins, Vikings, St. Louis, Minnesota, Minnesota, China, Buffalo. Okay. So it looks like the vast majority of people are saying that you are getting Dalvin Cook as a Minnesota Viking this next season. If he's a Minnesota Viking and I'm getting him in round 7, sign me up. If he's a Miami Dolphin and I'm getting him in round 7, sign me up. Okay, so super balanced team. Really the only thing we want to see is quarterbacks getting drafted. And Watson goes 81 to pair up with the Lawrence. Look at this draft. Oh my gosh. Mahomes, Allen, same team. Hurts, Fields, same team. Lamar, Herbert, same team. Lawrence, Watson, same team. What the? This is crazy. Elijah Moore off 88. Brian Robinson, 89. Brian Robinson was not going to be in play for us, so nice to see him go. But going back to what we were discussing earlier, if you're Stingray, I mean, not necessarily if you're Stingray, but if you're CFM and you're sitting here and like Anthony Richardson's on the board and you go, oh, I want Anthony Richardson, you don't have to take him at pick 94. I mean, you could get him on the way back around at 99. So it is weird, like the way the board's set up with both the teams at the end having the elite level quarterbacks. Like if this team wants that guy, he's not going to have to take him here. He can get him on the way back around 9. So it puts us at a slight disadvantage. Okay, so Ace Man on the clock. Let's see what he decides to do. Goes Javonte, then Evan Ingram. Montgomery goes. Crap. We'll reach on our guy. We'll go ahead and we'll take Alvin Kamara. Yep, we draft Alvin Kamara in almost every other draft, but we kind of have to. If you're getting me Alvin Kamara pick 95, understand you have a lot of downside, but come on, it's a $5 buy-in, $1 million prize pool. We're shooting for the stars here. Joshua says, I've been in drafts where people are aggressively taking 3 quarterbacks early. The thing is, if you take Mahomes and Allen together, it's already probably bad. If you take Hurts and Fields together, it's already probably bad. But if you were to go through and take a 3rd quarterback after taking those combos, it is laughably bad. So when you see someone that doesn't have an experience badge, and I don't mean to sound like an ass when I say this, but just in general, if you see someone that doesn't have an experience badge, you can maybe say, okay, maybe they're completely lost. Maybe they don't have any idea what they're doing, and maybe they go ahead and they take another quarterback after taking Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen. But in general, when you do see someone with the red experience badge and that they've gone through and they have drafted over 1,000 teams on Underdog, you can say they probably have a small idea of what they're doing at the minimum. Personally, that's how I view it. I could easily be wrong, but it is what it is. And yeah, here at the 8-9 turn, we're going to go Kamara and Michael Thomas. So now we are also betting on the New Orleans Saints offense. So if we're looking at this, we have Chase, T. Higgins, Cincinnati, Hurts, Goddard, Philadelphia, DJ Moore, Justin Fields, Chicago, Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas, New Orleans. Really, really weird. I'm probably going to tweet this team after. I mean, this is crazy. Mark says, you say that, but I've seen red badges grabbing 4 quarterbacks and 4 tight ends. I'm going to speak in generalities, my friend. I am not saying that red badges always know what they're doing. The majority of time. And I'm not saying that they're better than people with no badges. I'm saying they're not going to be completely lost, right? Sometimes you'll find someone that it's like the first Underdog draft that they're in, and they are just like completely lost, which is why I'd say if you were going to hop in your first underdog draft, especially with it being a 30-second timer, like if you've never drafted with the 30-second timer before, it will be a small adjustment and you have to be willing to make your picks fast. Definitely get in one of the $5 drafts, one of the $3 drafts. Don't go and hop into the $500. Don't go ahead and hop into don't make a dumb decision, of course. Go, and if it's your first draft on Underdog, get into one of the lowest stakes drafts possible. That way you can play around. That way you can get familiar to everything. Okay. French Toast says, my badges just let you know I'm a juggernaut. Love it, my man. Love it. Okay, now Daniel Jones goes, obviously great for us to see these quarterbacks off the board. Swing this back around. Tyler Boyd goes 109. Boyd was not going to be in play for us. We already had Chase Higgins and no Burrow. Rodgers goes 110. Penny 111. Not a big Rashad Penny fan. Completely fine to see him go. We just really want to see Geno go. Geno's the last quarterback in this tier. Geno's also my favorite quarterback in this tier. Like, I'd probably rather have Geno over Rodgers. Ethan says his team's winning 150. Thank you, my man. Thank you. Okay, we're 119. So if we're looking at players that should be available to us, a couple different ways we can go about this. Odell off the board 113. Dillon 114. Getting A.J. Dillon would have been beautiful, but in reality, it's probably a pipe dream. Andrew says, how many likes are we at with 530 people watching? I think we're at closing in on 450. And real quick, yeah, if y'all don't know, if we hit 600 likes, we are firing up a third draft after this one. So if you want to see another draft, go down there and hit that like button. And if you want to get in our next draft, Underdog Fantasy, promo code FLOCK, 100% deposit match. And on top of that, my 2023 fantasy football rankings. And on top of that, a free trial of flockfantasy.com. But Geno Smith goes 117. Great. Jacoby Myers goes, here's my thought process. Actually, I don't want to say it. I don't know if this person's watching the live stream. We're going to go ahead. We're going to take Damian Harris at 119. I'm going to keep my lips sealed. Let's see what Big Marley decides to do. They have Mahomes, Allen. They goes, okay, there we go. We get Gibson all the way back around as well. Okay, so here's my thought process. Right or wrong, this is how it looks like they are thinking. I'm not saying it's the correct decision, incorrect decision, but they're willing to go through and they're willing to go out of their way to stack players in their offenses. And they took Patrick Mahomes, pick 24, and then at the same time reached on Isaiah Pacheco at 72. So with Isaiah Pacheco, not someone that's going to be catching the ball, right? So you'd think, oh, maybe he doesn't correlate that well with Patrick Mahomes, which is 100% possibly true. And you could say the same thing with Damian Harris as well as Josh Allen. So if we're sitting here saying, okay, well, they're willing to reach on Isaiah Pacheco to pair him up with Mahomes, they're probably willing to take Damian Harris after his ADP to pair him up with Josh Allen. So honestly, I probably would have rather had Antonio Gibson over Damian Harris. But once we see their decision to take Pacheco at pick 72, it kind of gives us a little insight on what they may be doing here at the turn. I think we honestly played this correct. They go through and they grab both Sky Moore as well as Rashee Rice to pair them up with Patrick Mahomes. If we would have gave them the opportunity to take Damian Harris, there's an outside chance they would have taken Damian Harris and then one of those wide receivers. So I think we played that well, and I'm very excited how that turned out. Okay. Jeff says this team is so sexy. I mean, this is an exciting team. Let me go ahead and let me show this off just for anybody coming in here. So, quarterback, we have Jalen Hurts, Justin Fields. We have Hurts paired up with Goddard. We have Fields paired up with DJ Moore. We have Jamar Chase, T. Higgins paired up together. We have Dalvin, Kamara, Damian Harris, and Gibson at running back. We have Michael Thomas paired up with Alvin Kamara as well. So we have a lot of correlation built in with this team. Really like it if we're looking at the build that we are probably going to have here. Definitely only drafting 2 quarterbacks. Probably going to be drafting 6 RBs, or honestly, maybe we stop after 5 running backs with Dalvin, Kamara, Damian Harris, Antonio Gibson. I think it depends on when we get our next guy. Possibly going to go 5 to 6 running backs, possibly go 2 to 3 tight ends, and then obviously the rest of the spots will be wide receiver. So I think we have a lot of flexibility on what we can do through the course of this draft, and we're just kind of going to be sitting here and letting it fall to us. Okay. Now, Miller off the board, 131. Let's swing this around. So maybe we are not going to have a running back make into us. Roschon Johnson, the last guy in this tier. Gallup goes 133. Kmet could be in play if we really wanted him. I don't feel the need to go ahead and double stack Justin Fields, knowing the majority of the value that we're expecting to get from Fields is actually as a rusher. But if we get Kmet 143, 146, may not be the worst spot, considering the fact that he does correlate with Fields. We need another tight end. Okay, Tyler Higbee off the board, 136. There are a couple different tight ends I like here. Talon says, just accidentally took Sam Howell at pick 124. I want to cry. Oh my gosh, my man. That is brutal. I have heard a decent amount of people say like that they make accidental picks like that. Very rarely do I ever go through and make an accidental pick. I think the majority of the time this happens is someone will take like Terry McLaurin and go, okay, I want to make sure I grab Sam Howell later on. And then they queue up Sam Howell and then it auto picks for them. They miss out on the 30-second window, which is why in general, I don't go through and queue up that far in advance. Like in general, I'll just queue up who I'm looking at over the next 1 to 2 rounds. Obviously, when I'm on the live stream, I don't even queue that up, just given the fact that, I mean, y'all are watching us here. Okay. Now, Dobbs off the board at 140. This team only has one tight end. That tight end is Evan Ingram. They go Hyatt. Okay, so I think I know what we're doing. CFM on the clock. Goes Mostert. We'll go ahead. We will take Kmet at tight ends. Probably be done drafting tight ends now with the combination of Dallas Goedert as well as Cole Kmet. We have Cole Kmet double stacked with Justin Fields and DJ Moore. Okay, Warren goes. So I think a lot of people would go through and they would take Roschon Johnson. And in general, maybe if we didn't take Cole Kmet, I'd be fine taking Roschon. But if we only have 18 roster spots and this is such a large field tournament, at some point there's a switch where you do begin to lose upside if we are starting to roster 5 guys from a single offense on a team, 4 guys from a single offense on a team. So instead, I'm going to go ahead. I will take DJ Chark. We'll pass on Roschon Johnson, even though Roschon's a player that in general I like in this range. And if I just had Justin Fields and Cole Kmet, or if I just had Justin Fields and DJ Moore, I would be fine going ahead and taking Roschon here. But to go through and take Fields, Roschon, DJ Moore, and Cole Kmet, I do feel like the caps are ceiling just a bit here. So we're going to go ahead and instead we will take DJ Chark, a wide receiver that in general I just really like the price point of. Now with this team, wide receiver Chase Higgins, DJ Moore, Michael Thomas, DJ Chark. Quarterback Jalen Hurts, Justin Fields. Tight end Dallas Goedert, Cole Kmet. Running back Dalvin, Kamara, Damian Harris, Antonio Gibson. In terms of the correlation we have with this team, we have Jamar Chase, T. Higgins together. We have Jalen Hurts, Dallas Goedert together. We have Justin Fields, DJ Moore, Cole Kmet together. We have Alvin Kamara and Michael Thomas together. And then, of course, we have some of our one-offs, which you kind of need. Tank says, McKinnon was good value at 210. That value is long gone. I am 100% in agreement with you, my friend. 11th round Jerick McKinnon, something I'm not too excited about. Now, that could change. If we get to September and the Kansas City Chiefs still haven't brought in a running back, then honestly, I may change my mind. I will draft Jerick McKinnon some at ADP. But I don't know. Okay, so Algier goes 154, Bigsby 152, Roshan 150. Pitfall says, could be a winning roster. They're not going to lie. I think both teams that we've drafted today were, I don't want to say good, but were both very unique and very fun. Like, these are some of the most fun teams that I've drafted in a while. Like, I don't really look, I don't know. Chris says, hey, Mason, last year on Best Ball Mania 3, Gronk retired, and I queued up Cameron Brate. Kids distracted me, and he was my 101 pick in the draft. It happened. Oh, my gosh. That is hilarious, my man. If I was in a draft and I saw Cameron Brate go off the board, I'd lose my mind. Okay. I'm sorry, Cameron Brate off the board at pick 1, obviously. Okay, now QB, not something we can do. We can still go running. Oh, I'm sorry. We can still go running back, wide receiver, tight end. Generally, we're not looking to go tight ends. It's more so just if the value makes it, we'll go ahead and we'll grab them. But it's not something that we're going to have to do. Donovan Peoples-Jones goes 160. So once we have all these running backs off the board, I'm pretty confident in saying that we're most likely going to go through and draft 6 RBs. Downs 161. I get a lot of Josh Downs round 15, so that is a little sad seeing him go. Marvin Mims off the board 162. Shaheed 163. Hopefully we see a Kyler pick here. Stingray took 3 quarterbacks. Has Dak, Geno, and Love. Deontay Foreman goes. Good for us. Like I said, I mean, we're not taking another Chicago player. Zeke goes. CFM only has 1 QB, but they don't have to take him here. They can take him on the way back around. We'll take Wan'Dale Robinson. Very excited to get Wan'Dale. Player that I really like. Price point that I really like as well. Not too much to discuss. We need a wide receiver. Okay. Big Marley on the clock. Only has 3 RBs. So I'd imagine we honestly see some running backs go. I mean, only has Pacheco, Zach Charbonnet, and Jalen Warren so far. Get Chase Brown 168. Juwan Johnson goes, we're going to go ahead and we're going to take Curtis Samuel, pick 170. Samuel does pair up with Gibson for us, so that's a little nice. We get just another teammate combo here. So let's go ahead and let's show off this team and all the freaking correlation it has. So we have Chase Higgins paired up together. We have Jalen Hurts, Dallas Goedert paired up. We have Justin Fields double stacked with DJ Moore, Cole Kmet. We have Michael Thomas, Alvin Kamara together. And now we have Gibson as well as Curtis Samuel together. So, I mean, over half the team is correlated. So I really like it. I really like it. Okay. Matt says, thoughts on only picking AFC players. I think it's a bad thing to go into a draft and say, I'm only going to select players from this conference. If it naturally happens, who the hell cares? It doesn't really matter. I mean, maybe you get some more matchups and maybe you get some more spike weeks. I will say I had a draft the other day where when it was like in round 12, I looked at it and like over 90% of the players that I had selected were in like the AFC South. Like it was like a team where we took Taylor, Pittman, Anthony Richardson. We had Dameon Pierce. We had Travis Etienne. Believe we had like maybe Calvin Ridley as well. I don't know. We had like every AFC South player you can imagine. Okay. Now we have some tight ends going here with Everett, Taysom. If they would have made it back to us in 191, we would have gone ahead and pulled the trigger. I mean, we can take another tight end here. It's just not necessarily ideal, right? I mean, it's just kind of up to what we want to do. Okay, quarterback still falling here. It's almost round 16, and somehow Lance is still on the board. Now, I know I have Hurts, I know I have Fields, but I may get that itch. Here, let me ask y'all this. What division do you think will be... Actually, no, that's everybody's going to answer. NFC South. What division do you think will be surprisingly bad this year? Let me know. Surprisingly bad. What division? You think that they're going to be worse than everybody else thinks? Nick out here. Nick was a member of the flock that won the puppy draft last year, which I am super excited to brag about every time we get to get in one of these, my friend. But we have NFC West, NFC North, AFC East, AFC North, NFC East, NFC North, NFC North. I am with y'all. I think the NFC North is going to be surprisingly bad. Mainly because I am not a full-blown believer that all of a sudden the Detroit Lions are fundamentally a different team than they've been in the past. I think maybe, just maybe, the Lions are still bad, and I know that's blasphemous to say, and the Lions are America's team, but I think Lions disappoint. I'm not a big believer in Fields. Yes, we draft him here in round 5. I think he's fine in fantasy because all the rushing upside in the world, real life, I still have massive questions. You have no Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay now. You don't really know how that's going to turn out. Could be fine. Could be bad. So I think the NFC North could fall hard. Now, of course, I could easily be wrong. Easily be wrong. But okay. Now Stingray goes, CFM still only has one quarterback, that quarterback being Tua. They go Isaiah Hodgins. I was really hoping that we were going to get Isaiah Hodgins here. It would have fit our team nicely. CFM goes, Robert Woods. We will take Jerome Ford. If you're looking at this team here, they're pretty much guaranteed to grab running backs, right? They have Pacheco, Zach Charbonnet, Jalen Warren, Chase Brown. So I think you're almost guaranteed to see some running back selections. Yeah, they go Gainwell. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to take Kareem Hunt. I'm sorry. I just can't stop drafting Kareem Hunt here. Like, players that could see their ADP massively rise by the time we get to the start of the season in this range. Kareem Hunt, Leonard Fournette, kind of end of list. Like, who the hell else is going to be able to rise in ADP by 6 or more rounds by the time we get to the start of the season? It's not guaranteed, but we're talking about just having the possibility, right? So here's the entire team, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Really do appreciate y'all. And yeah, we'll be live again tomorrow. We'll be live again the next day. We'll be live again the day after that. And of course, we'll be drafting on Underdog. And if you want to get in a draft with us, it's never too late. Go sign up for Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code FLOCK. They'll match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. You'll get our 2023 fantasy football rankings. You will get a free trial to flockfantasy.com. Underdog is available everywhere in yellow. If you're looking at this map, gray, it is not. It's also available in Canada outside of Ontario. But again, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Really do appreciate y'all. Really hope you have a great day and really hope we get to see you with the live stream tomorrow.